All right, y'all. We finna hear how healthcare finna feel and how they trying to take away our First Amendment, freedom of speech. Check this shit out.
Today, we heard from the former director of the CDC for the first time since she was fired, just 29 days after being confirmed by the Senate. Susan Menarez, who was chosen and nominated by Donald Trump, testified before the Senate Health Committee about how she was fired for, quote, holding the line on scientific integrity, telling senators about the meeting with Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. that ultimately led to her dismissal.
On the morning of August 25th, Secretary Kennedy demanded two things of me that were inconsistent with my oath of office and the ethics required of a public official. He directed me to commit in advance to approving every ACIP recommendation, regardless of the scientific evidence. He also directed me to dismiss career officials responsible for vaccine policy without cause. He said if I was unwilling to do both, I should resign. I responded that I could not pre-approve recommendations without reviewing the evidence, and I had no basis to fire scientific experts. He told me he had already spoken with the White House several times about having me removed. I told the secretary that if he believed he could not trust.
Okay, so he wanted everybody to go with his vaccine, you know what I'm saying, theory and all that shit. So he don't want the kids to get a vaccine. So he telling the scientists, if you don't go the fuck along with me, your ass is up out of here. And then not only that, I want you to fire some of the other scientists that I know that you don't want to go, that's not going to go along with me. You know what I'm saying? And she like, hell no. Hell motherfucking no. Shit, fire me, motherfucker.
Trust me, he could fire me. The next day, I was told I still had my job, but the secretary's expectations remained: approval of ACIP recommendations and dismissal of career scientists. I would not commit to that, and I believe it is the true reason I was fired.
Senator Bernie Sanders, independent from Vermont, is the ranking member of the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, which held today's hearing, and he joins me now. Senator, I knew the outlines of this story. Of course, we covered it. It was reported. I found the testimony today truly shocking. What Ms. Menarez detailed. What was your reaction?
Well, I think it was shocking, and I think two major issues popped out at me, Chris. Number one was the ferocity upon which the Kennedy people are prepared to undermine the science of vaccines. Her great crime, and the reason she was fired, as you just said, is she didn't pre-approve a set of principles that she had not seen, okay, regarding vaccines. Now, why these people want to defy what every major medical organization believes, what every scientific organization believes, which is that not only are vaccines safe and effective, they have saved millions and millions of lives. So I honestly do not understand why they want to break the people's trust in vaccines. And by the way, as we discussed at the hearing, what I fear about is not only what happens for our kids today and in the immediate future. Most of the scientists believe that another pandemic is coming. They don't know what it will look like. They don't know when it will be. And what Kennedy is doing is making it very.
See, all the scientists already know. They're already saying that eventually it's going to be another pandemic, and we ain't going to be ready. First of all, they cutting back on the CDC and all the rest of this stuff, so they can't even study the new stuff that's coming out. So when it hit us, it's gonna be, man, crazy. And then plus people gonna already be sick because they're gonna have measles, mumps, rubella, and all the rest of that stuff because they ain't taking their damn shots. Cause this motherfucker is crazy.
Very difficult for us to prepare for that pandemic, which, God forbid, could take millions of lives. The second issue that popped out of me today was the authoritarian nature of what Kennedy and his people do. You hire somebody to be head of the CDC, one of the most important public health officials in America, and then you say, it doesn't matter what you think.
Right.
This is what we will tell you. We are politicians. You do what we want. You don't want to do it, you are out of here. Those are the things that popped up to me today.
Not only that, I mean, she told your colleague, Senator Cassidy, who, sort of hemmed and hawed and reluctantly voted for Kennedy, even though he's a doctor, and now seems to be having a little buyer's remorse, that they're going to change the childhood vaccine schedule, like for the whole country, and that book is already cooked. The fix is in.
Well, we will see what happens tomorrow. Their meeting is tomorrow. But the idea that you fire all of the people who are on that committee and you bring in people who are vaccine skeptics is rather extraordinary. So what we are looking at, Chris, and this is the point that everyone has got to understand, every medical organization in America representing hundreds and hundreds of thousands of doctors, the AMA, the pediatrics people, the osteopaths, all of the major organizations understand the importance of vaccines. And you have people involved in conspiracy theory trying to undermine the trust the American people have.
I want to just read to you, this is Robert Malone.
See, all the goddamn doctors, all the goddamn scientists is telling you that vaccines is going to keep us safe. And Kennedy, because he hired all his little people and they done saying, well, I don't know about vaccines, give you a mental illness and all the rest of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It makes you go shoot people. So I don't know what the hell it is, you know what I'm saying, with them with the vaccine. You know what I'm saying? If it's helping and saving people, why the fuck is you against it? I guarantee your motherfucking kids got vaccine. When I guarantee you did when you was a kid. So why is you trying to go against what everybody else now getting it?
Alone, who is one of these individuals who has been appointed to this committee that is going to determine the childhood vaccine, the one whose recommendations were that Ms. Menares was, or Dr. Menares was supposed to just approve sight unseen. This is him watching the hearing today saying the CIA trains people how to lie and manipulate others. That is a fact. Has she been trained to lie by our intelligence community? Like this is one of the people that's going to be making the child vaccine recommendations.
What can I tell you? I wish I could tell you it's unbelievable. That is what's going on in Washington right now. This is the kind of person you have who will be determining policies to protect the health of Americans' kids. I mean, that's basically nuts.
Since I have you here, you have long talked a lot about the U.S. media, about how the media operates and controlled, and particularly its ownership and the threats that can pose to the free and fair expression of a range of views. So I have to get your reaction to the FCC commissioner directly threatening both local affiliates and Disney earlier today, saying we can do it the easy way or the hard way, and then subsequently both the affiliates and then Disney deciding to preemptively take Jimmy Kimmel off the air.
Look, I mean, you've heard me say this a million times. This country is rapidly moving toward an authoritarian form of society. In authoritarian countries like Russia and others, Saudi Arabia, you do not have a media that is allowed to be critical of the government. Trump just, what was it, yesterday, the day before, announced a $50 billion lawsuit against the New York Times. Today, the head of the FCC basically says, I don't like what this guy said, and we could take away your license. You better get rid of him. So.
Yeah, that's fucked up, you know what I'm saying? Jimmy Kimmel, all he did was make a goddamn joke. You know what I'm saying? Man, it's been freedom to speak all the damn time. People making fun of all these freaking presidents for forever. As soon as now Trump come around, you make a joke about him or say something that he don't like, you get pulled. You know what I'm saying? Because he fucking with the FCC commissioner and all the rest of that shit. Man, these corrupt ass motherfuckers need to go on somewhere. They talking about deep state. This is fucking deep state right here.
This is just another step forward. And we have got to, some of us are working really hard to rally the American people, not only against this authoritarianism, but this war against the working class, the massive tax breaks for the rich, the cuts in Medicaid. People should be aware that as a result of this Trump's big, beautiful bill, your health care premiums, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, whatever, independent, could go up by 75% because they're taking away the credits for the ACA.
Yeah.
So, we got some crises. We're trying to rally the American people against oligarchy, against authoritarianism, against the war on the working class that we're currently seeing.
Senator Bernie Sanders, thank you for making time tonight.
Thank you, Chris.
And we're going to leave it right there, y'all. They see, as you see, they trying to kill the freaking kids, man. I don't know what's going on. They don't want to get them enemies. And then they trying to take away your speech so you can't say shit about, you know what I'm saying, them killing the goddamn kids or doing dumb shit, you know what I'm saying? So what the hell going on with this world? We gotta vote, y'all. We gotta get this motherfucker up out of here. All right. I'm gonna leave it right there. And as always, y'all, like, subscribe, share, do all the good stuff. And most important, peace.